Hi guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name's Sophie. I'm a makeup artist from Scotland and today I'm just going to be bringing you a little contouring video. Now I know that there's so much content out there already flying about the internet about contouring, and I know that a lot of you will already be doing contouring in your daily makeup routines, but I just wanted to create a little easy peasy lemon squeezy video for all you beginner contourers out there. Does that make sense? I'm going to be talking about products and stuff as well because I know it's such a saturated market. There's so much out there, so it can be a little bit confusing sometimes. So yes, that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Obviously you can see that I've got my makeup on now, but I'm just going to pop a little before and after right here so you can see just how different it makes the face look when you add contouring into your makeup routine. It makes it look a lot more sculpted, a lot more flawless. So if you're not sure what contouring is, it's basically just a makeup technique where you add light and dark areas to the face to make it look more sculpted. It also helps to balance out the proportions of the face depending on what you might prefer. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about that in this video. Obviously there are like 100 million ways to contour the face, and this is just one simple way that I like to do it. So I hope that you find some tips from this today, guys. Everything that I'm using in the video will be linked below in the description box as always, but if you need any more information on anything that I spoke about in the video, just leave me a little comment and I will get straight back to you. So if you want to know any tips on contouring and you would like to know a little bit more on how I contoured my face today, then please keep watching this video. Okay, so the first question that a lot of people ask me is, should I be using cream contour or should I just be using powder contour? I think for day to day there's nothing wrong with just flinging on a bit of powder, and that's probably what I would do most days. In the morning, who's going to get up and actually sit and cream contour the whole face and then go over with powder? I'd always set cream contour with powder, so I just feel like for everyday wear it's a bit of a faff. Obviously for clients I usually cream contour because cream contour photographs much better. When I've got a client, it's usually a bridal client, or if you're going out somewhere you're going to be getting photos taken and stuff. So for flash photography, cream contour is so much better because it doesn't go against any flash and it doesn't lose its colour in a photograph. So if you are going to be going out somewhere, or if you've got something special, that's when I would definitely advise to cream contour. Another reason that I sometimes like to use cream contour, say if I did want to wear it on a day-to-day basis, is because it can, when used right, it can look a lot softer. I think sometimes powders tend to cling, you know, they can look a little bit more harsh if you're using a lot of them. So cream contour can look a lot more natural sometimes. It's just one of those things. You can use powder or cream, try a bit of both and see what you prefer. But yeah, if I'm going out, I would usually cream contour. For day-to-day wear, I'm usually just powder contouring. Another question I get a lot is, can you contour mature skin? And absolutely, yes you can. I think because when we see contouring videos online, sometimes it's like big stripes and really thick product. People think, well, I can't do that on like mature skin, but the truth is you just need to change the technique, maybe use like slightly thinner products, just use something a little more sheer so that you can blend it out a bit easier, and watch how much product you're actually using. So obviously contouring is mainly for sculpting the face or balancing out the proportions of the face, so you just need to sort of adjust and adapt the way that you do it to your face. A lot of people, as they get older, their cheekbones become more defined and things like that anyway, so what I would suggest is maybe not going as harsh in the contours of the face, just keep it a little bit softer, but definitely still use these techniques if you have mature skin. Another little thing that I just want to touch on before we jump into the demo is about controlling how much product you put on. Obviously you see loads of videos, people drawing lines all over their face and stuff like that, but what I do want to say is that sometimes less is more with contouring, especially if you are a beginner. You want to go in with a little bit less product because it's then easier to blend out. If you put tons of product on, it's just going to all it's going to go super cakey, it's going to be really hard to blend. So yeah, I would always suggest less is more, and a good way that you can control your product is by having a little palette. I've got one right here. This one's from my Kit Co. I will link it below. I use this every single time I do my makeup. It's just better than using your hand because it's not as messy, but it means that you can put loads of different stuff on there. You can actually mix your colours together, so if your contour shade's looking a bit much, you can mix a bit of foundation in with it. Like genuinely, it's such a good little thing to have if you are doing your makeup more often and contouring a bit more. I see a lot of people just going straight from the product, like drawing on the lines, and that's absolutely fine once you know how much you can put on and you know how much you need. But I feel like for beginner, definitely like taking a tray, decanting your product on here, and then using a brush is what I'm going to be doing today, and that just gives you a lot more control. I will be using a cream contour today just to demo exactly where we're putting it, and I'm going to be setting it with a bit of powder as well. But please do know that you can literally use just cream contour on its own, you could just use powder on its own, you can use both, but just experiment, have a bit of fun with it. Another little thing that I will say is, again, there's so many different products and brushes and sponges and things to use. For beginners, I definitely suggest using a beauty blender sponge, and I would always use it damp because it helps to blend the product a little bit more. It also stops the sponge from absorbing any product. The reason that I would suggest a blender is because you want to be tapping the product in. Using a blender stops you from wanting to move the product around too much because you can't, you have to tap. So blenders are going to be really, really good, especially if you are a beginner when it comes to contouring. Okay, so now I'm going to briefly talk about shades and tones when it comes to contouring. Another thing that I see people doing a lot is using like a really ashy shade to contour with, which is totally fine if you're a bit more experienced in it, you know where you're putting it, you don't put too much product on. But one of the worst things that I see is like really brown, like ashy grey looking contour. Please don't do that. Like, I'm going to show you some swatches just to compare shades. But I just feel like that is a really unnatural way of doing it. The ashy shade should only be used in the very smallest amounts to give it the most natural effect. So I'm going to just show you like a more ashy toned contour product to a more warm contour product. And we are going to be using both today, but I'm going to show you how to use them. This one here is the Huda Beauty Tantour. This is actually the medium shade, which I do think is a little ashy. I do like this medium shade, but I think the light one is a little warmer, so probably lean more to that one the next time. So you can see this is quite like brown. Obviously it is a nice shade for contouring, but I wouldn't suggest it for a beginner. Whereas this is what I'm going to be using today. This is the Born This Way from Too Faced concealer. This is in the shade Maple, but you can see the difference that this one has a lot more warmth in it, like it's a bit more yellow toned. So I personally think when you're new to contouring, to go in with a warmer shade first and just use the ashy shades minimally. And generally when I'm doing makeup on clients, when I'm doing makeup on myself, that's the sort of rule that I like to follow. If I'm using this on its own, I will absolutely use a warm bronzer on top. The same with bronzer. So you can see here, this is the Maybelline City Bronzer. This one is really warm. This is such a nice color for every day to contour your face. Whereas like this one here from Kiko is a little bit more ashy toned. You can see it's just a little bit more brown rather than like a yellowy warm color. I would mostly use this and then a little bit of this. Other things you're going to need today, guys, is a concealer, usually about 2 to 3 shades lighter than your own skin tone, just to give you that sort of dimension to your face. Also, you're going to need a translucent powder. Now, when it comes to translucent powder, you need to be really careful, like because a lot of translucent powders give you flashback, which is not cool in your photographs. I just always stick to the Laura Mercier one. It's literally like one of my favourite makeup products. It's absolutely beautiful. It sets your concealer really, really nicely, because I know a lot of you out there still set your concealer with bronzer. Please don't do that because it makes it look really dark and patchy. So a translucent powder is definitely the way forward, but again, I'm going to demo all this in a little sec. I think what I'm going to do is like do one side of my face and then just leave this side so that you can see the difference. Definitely always start with concealer. That's a top tip, because if you go in with your blender onto the dark shade and then you start to blend the concealer, you've got dark on your blender, so that's just a no-go. We want to keep the light shades light and the dark shades dark. I've got loads of concealers that I like to use. These are a few of my favourites. So Shape Tape, and I like to use personally Light Medium Sand. I then have Nabla Close Up Concealer in Light Peach, also one of my favourite concealers. This one here, I think I'm actually going to use this one here today. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Concealer, and I use shade 327, which is Cashmere, which is actually a really nice bright concealer for contouring. It's actually a really good dupe for Shape Tape, and I'm seriously running low on that, so I'm going to use this one today. So first of all, I'm going to be applying this concealer just right underneath my eye. So what you want to do is just apply it sort of into the side of the nose and just down to here. Don't bring it right down past your nose, and don't bring it right up over your cheek. Like I see people putting so much concealer on. Now obviously I know I use a lot of concealer, but it's all placed quite strategically, if you know what I mean. So you can drag it up to here, or you can almost just like put a little bit just up on your cheekbone here, which gives a nice lift to the eye. Then I'm going to be adding a little bit on my forehead. I'm then going to add a little bit underneath my lip. I feel like this works really, really well on mature skin, because as you know, as we get older, this is the part of the face that starts to droop. So by putting a little bit underneath your lip, it almost gives you a little mini facelift. So I love putting concealer there. Another place I like to use it is just on my chin, and then just on the top of the lip. I feel like if you don't put anything on the top of the lip, it almost just looks dark, which we definitely don't want. I'm going to do my nose at the end just because I like to do that as like one whole. I'm going to just take my damp beauty blender. I'm just going to start to tap and press this all in. And just make sure that you pat it right into the sides of the nose. It makes the nose look slimmer if you put the lighter shade on the inside here. And you can see I'm really like pressing the product in, I'm not moving it around. So obviously you can see I look a lot brighter under my eye now, which is fab, and the main purpose of the concealer under the eye is obviously to brighten, but also just to bring that cheekbone forward so that when we put the darker shade in there, it's going to make it pop. Now I'm just going to go ahead and blend all the other concealer. You can actually see it's made me look a little bit paler, which is why I'm also going to be using a really nice warm shade to contour. I actually meant to say earlier, I already have my foundation on, and the one I've got on is the MIX Born to Glow foundation, which I'm absolutely loving. It looks so natural, and this is in the shade Medium Olive. I will link it below, and I also did a review of it the other day. If you want to see that, I will link that below as well. Okay, so next up we're going to go in with the contour shade, which is the darker shade, and as I said before, I'm going to be using the Born This Way multi-sculpted concealer, and this is in the shade Maple, and I'm literally just going to like take a little bit out onto my tray, just decant it from the bottle. And I'm also going to be taking this brush here from Zoeva, which is the 144 flat concealer brush. I just love this one. I've had it in my kit for such a long time, and I really like to use it for placing down the contour. The first place that I'm going to contour is in the cheekbone, because I feel like that's the main place that everybody wants to go for. Obviously everyone's face is different, and a lot of people will say, where do I place the cheekbone contour? Where should it be going? And a lot of people I see putting it really, really high, sort of like up here. But then what's going to happen is it's going to make your jaw look massive. So you almost want to have it like kind of in the middle of the space between your jaw and your eye. And if you do suck your cheeks in, that is where your natural cheekbone falls. So usually there's totally fine. Just going to take some of the product onto my brush, and you can also tap some of the excess off to control how much you're putting on. And I'm just going to draw a line in there. And I've just kind of tapered it off to the end. I don't want it to be really thick, and I don't want it to come all the way down here. The next place that I'm going to be applying this is on the forehead. Now, the main reason I like to put it on the forehead is because it just adds a nice bit of warmth to the face, also brings it in a bit. Now, I feel like I like to bring my forehead in a little bit this side. It's going to make it look a little bit shorter and a little bit thinner. So I'm just going to put some of the product right here. And then another place I like to put the product is just kind of like from the eye here, and just kind of round. And I just feel like that kind of makes your cheekbone pop out a wee bit more. And I would normally do that with eyeshadow or bronzer, but obviously I'm just showing you like in a contour form how I would do this. And the next place that I like to contour is just along the jaw. So don't be putting it like on the jaw. You just want to like stick your neck up, and where you've got a natural shadow, it's going to go kind of more like underneath. So I'm just going to start from the chin here. Just draw a line there, and then I like to bring it in here and then kind of angle it off there. I just feel like that gives like a really nice defined look. And finally, the last place that I like to contour is on the chin. So I'm just going to be drawing like two little lines, well, one there and then I'm doing one there, but I'm only going to do one side. And that just makes the chin look a little bit cuter and smaller. So this is the situation as it stands. All we're going to do is take our damp beauty blender, and we're just going to start to press all of that in. So I'm just going to start from the forehead. When you're doing the forehead, you want to make sure that you're pulling the warm shade into your hairline, because you don't want to have like a gap that's like white and then tanned, if you know what I mean. So just make sure you really pull that into your hairline. You can already see it's starting to make me look a lot more tanned. I'm pressing it in just here, just until it looks like the lines are all starting to blur, because you don't want to see any harsh lines. You just want it all to look really beautifully blended together. And when it comes to the cheek, you don't want to drag it into this area, because by putting dark here, it's going to make it look quite mucky and patchy if you drag it down the way. I'm just going to add a little bit more onto the cheekbone there by applying a tiny bit of the excess there on my sponge. And now I'm just going to tap it sort of along just to deepen it slightly. So again, it's just a nice way of controlling how much product you've got on by starting with small amounts and then adding where you want more, rather than going on with loads and then you're like, oh, I can't blend any of this out because it's too much. So you can see that's giving us a nice bit of warmth to the face. It's making the cheekbone look a lot more defined. I'm going to just blend in the chin and just kind of scooping it round. And then when it comes to the jaw, I am actually going to switch to the brush, because I always find the jaw, you have to make sure you blend it in really, really well, and I've got some foundation left over on my brush from when I applied my foundation earlier, which is also going to help to blend in a lot easier. So for the jaw, I'm going to kind of pat it and pull it down the neck so that it kind of blends into the neck. And then I'm just going to wiggle it over the actual edge of where the contour is, just to make sure that it's not too like thick and heavy. Okay, so if I'm just looking straight on, you can see the difference from this side to this side. It just looks a lot more sculpted and just brings all your features out and really makes the face look a lot more angular. So obviously you'd absolutely wear it like this and just go on your way with your day, and it looks quite healthy and natural. But if you want it to be a little bit more long wearing, and then if you want it to maybe look a little tiny bit more contoured, I'm going to show you another few steps that you can do. So I'm going to be setting the areas that we use the concealer with a little bit of translucent powder. Now, I am going to necessarily bake for ages. You can leave the powder on and let it sit and bake, and it would be really sort of full coverage looking, but I just wanted this to look kind of natural. So what I'm going to do is just take my damp beauty blender again, and I'm going to apply some of this Laura Mercier translucent powder. I've just popped some in the lid, and I'm going to be applying this just directly underneath my eye, just at the front, down the side of the nose. And then I'm also going to take a little bit and just apply it where we put the concealer up on the cheekbone, and that's going to bring those areas forward again. I'm also going to apply this just the same way that we did the concealer, kind of up and under the cheekbone. And what that does is it then brings that part of the face out again. It makes it nice and clean and sharp looking, and it's going to just look a lot more flawless and a lot more angular. I'm then just going to take the excess. I'm not adding any more powder onto my sponge now. I'm just going to tap that into any areas that maybe would get a little bit oily, and that's just going to like mattify those areas. I definitely like to do the laugh lines because I always get crease in there. So I'm just going to be taking my MAC 133 and kicking that off pretty much straight away. If you wanted it to look a lot more contoured and a lot more full coverage, you would just leave that on for a bit longer. So you can see that it makes the makeup look super flawless. So yeah, using translucent powder is absolutely a key step, because if you go and set under your eye with a bronzer or like a darker powder, it's not going to bring those areas forward because it's going to make them dark again. So you definitely need to use either a translucent powder or something that's lighter and brighter to actually make your face look contoured. I am going to go ahead and set the cream contour, the dark cream contour, with a bit of bronzer. I'm going to be using my favourite, which is the Maybelline City Bronzer. This brush here is a Zoeva 127 contour brush, and I just think this is the perfect brush for applying bronzer for day-to-day wear, but it's also good because it just gets into all the areas that you want to contour the best. So I'm just going to be starting by brushing that into the hairline again, just to make sure that there's no line, and just sweeping that out into the temple. And then I'm going to be pulling that into the cheekbone. I'm just kind of going back and forth, but I'm not going like really heavy. I'm just keeping it nice and light hand. It's really soft. Another mistake a lot of people make is like going in like really heavy and like moving everything around, but you put so many different layers on. If you do that, you're just going to move the product around. So just keep a really gentle, light, soft hand. So again, with the jaw, shouldn't have worn hoop earrings. If you want to make it look a little bit more snatched and a little bit more angular, this is when you would use your ashy shade. If we just take the ashy shade bronzer and use it very minimally, it's going to literally just make all of the hollows of the face pop. So I'm going to be taking it just right on the tip of this contour brush, and just a really small amount, and I'm going to just be adding it into the areas that we've contoured, but just using it really precisely so it brings out the hollows. So the first place is just right in the cheekbone here, so I'm just using the brush like this, and hopefully you can see that that's just literally hollowed out the cheekbone even more. Now obviously this is not for everybody. You could literally just keep it with the warm and it still looks nice and natural. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of this just right into the hairline again, and a tiny bit along the jaw. Yeah, if I look straight ahead, now hopefully you can see the difference between this side to this side. This side just a lot more angular, a lot more sculpted, the jaw looks more defined. This side is obviously just my normal foundation. It's really natural and glowy, but it's just not as sculpted. You can absolutely see what it does to the face. It just lifts everything. Now obviously we've used the lighter concealer shade to highlight, but I am going to just finish with a little bit of highlighter just to show you how that will make your cheekbones pop even more. But I love this brush for highlighting. This is the Morphe R31 brush, and the highlighter I'm going to be using is like an old classic highlighter that's been in my makeup kit probably since I started. This is Soft and Gentle highlighter from MAC, which is just kind of like a really good good all-round highlighter shade. You can literally use this on any skin tone. So the best thing to do is kind of like, you can actually feel where your cheekbone is, and that's exactly where you want it to go. Now, the thing that I see people doing a lot is just going like this. Please don't do that, because it just looks like a big stripy line, and when the light hits it, you can actually see where it stops and starts. So that's what we want to avoid doing, is we want it just to look really diffused, soft, and just like part of your own skin. So to do that, you need to work in circular motions. So I'm just going to start again with a little product, because we can always build it up. I always find building up makeup slowly is so much better than just firing it all on at once. So I'm tapping off the excess, and I'm literally just going to start here. And I'm just using a really light hand as always, and doing lovely little circular motions. Then I'm going to add a little more, and I always start in the place that I want it to be brightest, and then I just move it around. And you can see by doing this technique, it's just building it up really slowly, but it looks super soft. You can see that just makes the cheekbone pop a lot more compared to this side. Other places that I like to highlight is just the side of the face here, and the chin. So yeah, you can see the difference from this side now to this side again. I'm just going to go ahead and contour the other side of my face to match this one, and I'll be back in 2 little secs so that we can do the nose. Okay guys, so I've just went ahead and contoured this side of my face. What I do want to show you as well is when I'm doing a sort of contour look and I want to look nice and bright under my eyes, I also always like to go in with this powder. This is the Airbrush Flawless Powder from Charlotte Tilbury. This is a shade 1, so it is quite a light shade. So I always like to just go in under my eyes, just here, and I just feel like it really brightens it up even more, but it also just gives it more of like a smooth, flawless finish, which I love. I was going to mention putting a little bit of contour on my nose. The reason why I want to do that at the end is because I kind of do it like back to front. So when it's the nose, I always do the dark shade first and then the light shade, because I just find it a little bit easier to carve out the lightest shade on the nose. Now obviously everyone's noses are different as well. Contour the nose, it will make it look a little slimmer. You can lift it by contouring the underside of your nose as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the same brush and the same contouring product that we used earlier, but I'm going to use a lot less product, so make sure that you take off the excess. And I'm just going to start from the brow here, and I'm just going to literally draw a little line down the side there. And the closer you put the lines together, the slimmer your nose will look. And then to give your nose a little lift, you can pop the product just here, and then I'm just going to take my blender and I'm just literally going to press the product in. Again, pressing is the best, you don't want to move it around too much. And I'm just going to use the same concealer that we used earlier for under the eyes, the L'Oreal one, but because it's got such a big applicator, I am going to use a brush for the nose as well. I'm just going to use the same Ziva brush, but I'm going to just wipe the dark concealer off of it. I'm just going to apply it like more to the side of the brush. I'll show you, just kind of like on this bit rather than like the flat side bit. All you want to do is draw a line right down the centre. I'm just going to be taking an eyeshadow brush to blend this out, just because it's a lot more precise, and this one is really good because it's super tiny. It's the Sigma E36 brush, and I'm just literally going to do like up and down motions. So you can see that makes the nose up here a lot slimmer. I'm now just going to add a little bit of the highlighter just on the tip of the nose, so the same soft and gentle on this brush. I'm just going to apply that over the top of the concealer just to set it. So I just started doing my lip liner, I wasn't recording, so I'm just going in with a little bit of this Morphe lip liner pencil called Bite Me. The lip shade that I'm going to be using is this Lip Lingerie from NYX, and the shade is called Dusk Till Dawn. It's kind of like a peachy nude, but it goes quite matte, so I might put a little gloss on top. This is just the Fortune Cookie Lip Gloss from NYX. So guys, this is the finished look. I hope that you've all enjoyed this contouring video. Obviously you can see from the before and after that it makes such a difference to the face. It makes it look super sculpted. And using all the techniques and the products that I've shown you today, it just helped make everything look a lot more flawless. I absolutely love contouring. I do it all the time, and obviously I do it to different degrees. Like sometimes I'll go full contour, sometimes I'll do it really soft, but for every day generally I will literally just contour my face in this way with a little bit of bronzer. So it can be so quick and easy when you need it to be. So thank you so much for watching watching today's video, guys. If you do try any of these tips or tricks today, please tag me because I love to see your recreations and to see that the makeup tips are actually helping you. So let me know if you enjoy this video, give it a big thumbs up if you do, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos. If you have any questions, pop them below, and as I said before, all the products mentioned today, I'll link them below if you want to check any of them out. I hope you're all staying safe and well at home, guys, and hopefully I'll be able to see you all very soon to paint your faces again because I'm missing it so much, honestly. I like doing my own makeup, but I'm definitely way more passionate when it comes to doing someone else's. So hopefully it won't be too much longer, but stay home, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.